Good morning, comrades, and welcome back to the channel. For all our new subscribers, welcome to the family. Channel has been growing extremely, I would say, rapidly over the last couple of days, but it's been a challenge at the same time because we've been challenged in the workshop as well. We have 4 cars that's sitting here, and unfortunately, at the same time, we're not making headway. And one of the cars is our 330 Ci. So the car has a rough misfire. The idle is a bit wonky. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the head off from this particular car. We're then going to slap on the old head onto the car itself. What we suspect is there might be a bent valve on cylinder number 6. But yeah, that being said, we'll take the head off today and we'll put the new head on and see. Hopefully there's no damage to the piston and so forth, because if there is damage to the piston and that there, then it's just another train smash that it's on it. So yeah, so this has been the issue for the last week and a half, and trying to diagnose it. Initially we thought it was a vacuum leak and so forth. But yeah, it's just a nightmare. This is just a nightmare. Then over onto our N54 platform, which we have one of our 600 horsepower N54s in the shop itself, and basically this particular N54 is one of our flagship N54s. It has polyurethane bushings throughout the car itself. It has all the best pieces on the car itself, port injection. It has a JB4. It has 19T turbos on it. The car in essence can make in excess of 700 wheel horsepower, that is for sure. We are limited by fuel at the moment because the low pressure fuel pump is still a stage 2 low pressure fuel pump on the car. So yeah, that being said, we did a little bit of cosmetic work, we did a little bit of piping work just to see if we can squeeze just a little bit more extra power out of the initial setup that we have. So on this particular N54, we did the cowls as cosmetic on the top, the V8 M3 cowls on the top. What we did here is, I just want to see if I can put the light on. So what we did here, we replaced this particular water pipe with this flange and the AN fittings on here, and we put the billet water pipe on the inside on that side there to accommodate the pipe work on the other side. So on this side here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but what we've done is we've changed all the piping work. So even the water flange pipes has been changed. The turbo boost outlet pipes has been changed. You can see here as well, these have been changed. So instead of the normal aluminium pipe that runs from the one turbo to the other turbo, because these turbos are left-hand drives and 19Ts, the orientation of the rear turbo is incorrect. So we had to custom make pipes. Initially we had it running from the top, but it was touching the steering column. We now went around, and she sounds pretty much absolutely beautiful. So this car was the car that we initially went with to Cape Town. She ran phenomenally well until the alternator packed up. We put on a new alternator on the car, changed the blow-off valve spring at the same time. Yeah, but unfortunately, this is where we are with this particular car. So just a little bit of cosmetic work done there, new piping and so forth. Then the other thing we've done, I don't know if I've documented this here. So we have all of these adjustable rear ends on the 135. Maybe we'll get a better view of it from here. So everything on this particular suspension is adjustable. You can see the polyurethane bushings, they're power flex. So we have the power flex mounts on the diff bushings as well. But what we want to achieve here is we have these Coney adjustable shocks, and at the moment I think it's set to like its maximum settings or in between. What we want to do is, I'm going to take this back to Coney a little bit later to see how the actual adjustment takes place. So what we're going to do is go there and do it. I know this thing must go down and then you got to turn it, but for some reason this right one is just completely turning. The left one at least is clicking to the left, and I can hear the actual click itself. Then here we have another headache. So this has come from another workshop into our shop itself. And basically what we have here is a beautiful looking 1M replica type of kit on the car. But we have a Vanos issue on this particular car. And I've done all the tests. I've done the solenoid test. I've done the test on the O-ring on the oil filter housing. I've cleaned out and replaced the Vanos filters that sits here. I've replaced the Vanoses itself, but I have two issues on this car. The first issue is that I have a misfire on cylinder number 6, and the second issue is I'm getting a Vanos code. Now, I've checked the timing, I've taken this cover off like 20 times already just to identify what it is. And I still cannot get to the conclusion. The Vanos issue will go away for about 2-3 hours, start the car again, and then the Vanos issue comes back up again. I got one final check that I'm going to do, so I'm going to remove the valve cover off again. I'm going to set my timing marks again on the car itself, and once I'm done with that there, I'm going to basically check for two things. Oh, and I also replaced the Teflon seals on both the camshafts itself. The two tests that I want to do is, one is I want to do a compression test because this motor was rebuilt, number one. And the second thing that I would like to do is I would like to investigate deeper into that number 6 cylinder to see what's going on. So the car did come in with a rough idle. It didn't throw, but the idle used to go away. But now that I don't know if like one aspect is sorted out, the misfire is still there. It's not the injector, it's not the coil, and it's not the plug. So there's something wrong on that particular cylinder of this car itself, which needs to be investigated. Once it's investigated, I'll give you guys an update to tell you guys what's happening there. Then the fourth car. The fourth car is actually another 135. It has a suspension noise where we redid every bushing on that suspension, but the car has a knocking noise. I've taken out the diff bushing of that car and I've replaced the diff bushing. It seems to have helped a little bit. What we did do was we didn't do the OEM bushings. We went with the M3 rear subframe bushing. So I kind of isolated NVH. NVH standing for noise, vibration, and harshness. I've isolated that particular aspect from the suspension itself, but now the rear left-hand side, which has a buckle on the wheel, is catching on the discs. So I don't know what's happening there. There also I need to pay attention to. So at the end of the day, I'll throw some pictures of what we've done there. Yeah, so you know, it's just been a week of absolutely no progress, but we've been moving forward. Like I say, keep on moving forward and we'll make achievements at the end of the week. So let's see by the end of today what we've learned and how we're going to proceed forward. We'll catch up on this video as we go into each car and see a little bit or dive into what we have found or discovered from each aspect. So this is the billet flange that we got off I can't remember where I bought this thing from even, but then nonetheless we tapped the AN fitting. We put a FTF fitting on this side here, so normally this would clamp down with the hose clamp. You can see it has provisions for the pipe to sit on here and then a hose clamp to sit over. I didn't actually like that, so what I decided to do was I merely created this particular I threaded it on the inside and then I created this AN fitting type of style, so when it fits into the motor it looks neat. So once it's back in the motor, I'll show you guys exactly how this thing looks. So you can see how the fitting looks. It's pretty much absolutely 10 times better than the stock fitting. We have the billet fitting that sits there, we have the AN fitting, and then we have the stainless steel adjustable hose that goes down to the thermostat on that side there. So pretty much done and dusted. We'll test it now for leaks and then continue on this particular car. Start stripping this one here, and then after we're done with this here, I'll show you guys how the inside of the valve train looks on this side here. So unfortunately yesterday I couldn't get through to finishing the video on all the cars that's here in the yard, because the reason being is that some of the things are just crazy. When we diagnosed and seeing what were the problems, it's just going to take a lot of work to complete. But that being said, let me take you through what we found on each of the cars, and then we'll take it from there and then see how best we're going to do this. I think I might split each of the cars into their own separate video so that you guys get an understanding. The one would be a head removal and the other one would be a complete engine removal. So let's see what's going on. So in terms of the 330 Ci, if you have a look here, say hello. Say hello. Someone wants to peek through from the bottom of the motor. Yes, that's a hole in the piston. There's a hole in the piston here. just there. There's a hole in the piston. So yeah, as well as the block has been scored. So unfortunately, when we initially started the car did have a noise. We didn't open the motor, we didn't do anything. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but fortunately enough, we have two of these motors, so we'll take the best from each of the motors and put it into one motor, and then get this car up and running again. Then in terms of the N54 that's sitting here, we did a compression test on the motor. All of the cylinders were roundabout. So I think cylinder number 1 was 126. Cylinder number 2 was 126 as well. 3 was 125. 4 was 120. 5 was, if I'm not mistaken, 5 was round about 118, round about there. So they were all within 10% of itself. It was pretty decent. When we got to cylinder number 6, there was no compression whatsoever. And what happened, or what we discovered, or what we assume, we haven't taken the head off, but what we assume is there is a bent valve on number 6. Now this makes complete sense. The reason being is that when this car came into the workshop itself, it had a very rough idle, and it wasn't initially throwing a misfire. But the idle was very, 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 very rough. And then after the second start, third start, cylinder number 6 started giving a misfire. But prior to this here, in terms of the codes that were coming up, the knock sensors were giving an issue. So that means this motor was picking up knock, and it was picking up knock from somewhere. But the valve could have been slightly bent at that point in time and was merely touching the piston. Well, that's my assumption, and that's why the knock sensors was picking up. So what the previous guys did was they moved the knock sensors around, thinking that maybe one of them were faulty and seeing if the problem moved. But what in essence did take place was the valve was starting to bend, and the more the motor was starting, the more it was knocking onto the piston. But here's the catch to this here. So initially, prior to us getting the car, the timing was done on the car. The first time I did see the timing on the car, the timing was way off. So some of the codes were exhaust vanos, retard. In terms of the exhaust vanos, I think the chems was extremely retarded, or yeah, basically something was retarded. So what could have happened was it could have bent one. However, when 1 is at top dead center, 6 is also at TDC, right? So I need to see the valves on cylinder number 1, because when this piston is at the top, that piston is also at the top. So if that bent the valve this here, I need to have a look and see what's happening on this side here. So in terms of all the bulbs that we have here in the garage, yard, there's quite big work that's taking place, and it's actually, it's frustrating because I have all of these other smaller things that I need to attend to, as well as some of my other customers. But at the same time, I'm quite happy that we made a little bit of progress, and so basically 2 cars, no progress, or rather very minimal progress in terms of actually finding a solution on the car itself. But the third car being our flagship 135. This car is now pretty much done, dusted. This car is ready to go, boosting like crazy. Suspension, we've done the suspension here at the back. In terms of the rebound rate, we made the rebound rate extremely soft. In its hard settings in the Joburg environment, this car is not really suitable for this particular application. It needs to be a little bit softer. But the car is closed. But that being said, this car is now done. All the piping on the intercooler side has been done. So what we did was we did new pipes from the turbo, from the 2 turbos, one in the front, one in the rear, one in the front, coming to the intercooler. We did new water flanges as well, going to the water pump itself. And then the port injection, we replaced the rubbers and so forth on the port injection, because we might have had a fuel leak on that side there. And that's about it that we did from an engine perspective on this car here. But everything had to come out in order to put those pipings in, so we had to remove the turbos and so forth. So what's the plan for this coming week? So this the plan for this coming week, I know I showed you guys a bit of that suspension on the E82, but the plan now is that on Tuesday, inshallah, we're going to sort out the noise on the hub on that E82. The other plan is then come Tuesday afternoon, we will fix this particular motor, which most probably will take us into Wednesday, maybe on Thursday. While we're busy with this here, we'll strip this particular car down here on this side here and see what's going on the head on that side there. And as well as there's some good news, our 1M, the production on the manifold has started on the 1M coupe, so that's I'm pretty excited on that there. So a lot of content coming out this week. I couldn't post 2-3 videos. The reason being is that these particular issues took a lot of time to diagnose, as well as time to understand and visualize the particular problem itself. So at the end of the day, you know, these things happen, but we keep moving forward till the next video. Hopefully Monday there's a video, Tuesday there's a video. I don't think Monday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday there might be a video. Stay tuned. Cheers, guys.